Hello and welcome to Business 360. I'm Shireen Pan. The headlines that we're tracking for you this evening. The sensex and the nifty end at the high point of the day amidst volatility. The nifty regains half of Monday's losses. Bank stocks perk up even as mid-caps underperform marginally. Reliance becomes the first Indian company to reach the milestone of 20 lakh crore rupees in market capitalization. The feat almost ties it at 43rd place with Netflix in the global market cap sweepstakes. The Reliance stock has gained about 14% in 2024. US President Joe Biden cautions Israel against an all-out military assault on Rafah in Gaza after meeting Jordan's King Abdullah in the White House. Biden says the US has been working day and night to get Israel and Hamas to agree to a 6-week ceasefire. A technical issue delays the commodity derivative trading at MCX for 4 hours. The exchange says slow processing and generation of back-end files delayed the start of trade. MCX had migrated to the new TCS platform in October last year. Axis Bank CEO Amitabh Chaudhry says credit growth can't sustain if deposit accretion does not pick up. He also sees reasons for margins to compress and credit costs to move higher. That's a CNBC-TV18 exclusive. Shares of PTM hit lower circuit once again as uncertainty lingers ahead of the February 29 deadline. Macquarie expects another 30% downside for the stock, sets a target price of 265 rupees a share. Prime Minister Modi announces an investment of 75,000 crore rupees for the Rooftop solar scheme. Government sources say that 75,000 crores is the likely subsidy estimate for over 3 to 5 years, and that 10,000 crore rupees has been provided for the next fiscal. A higher allocation is subject to the pace of installations. Chaos at the Punjab-Haryana border after protesting farmers break barricades and police fire tear gas shells using drones. Over 200 farmer unions have embarked on a protest march to Delhi. The police erect concrete slabs and barricades on Delhi's borders with adjoining states, leading to traffic snarls. Prime Minister Modi on a 2-day visit to the UAE and Qatar. He will hold bilateral talks with UAE President and inaugurate the first Hindu temple in Abu Dhabi. He's also scheduled to meet the Emir of Qatar. Former Maharashtra Chief Minister Ashok Chavan joins the BJP a day after resigning from the Congress, says it is an unconditional move without asking for any posts. Reports suggest the BJP may field him as one of their Rajya Sabha nominees from Maharashtra. Well, straight to the day's market action. Despite volatility, the Nifty and the Sensex ending at the day's high, gaining over 0.5%. Dalal Street did regain half of Monday's losses. Reliance and ICICI Bank leading the rally today. Banks outperformed the blue chips as well, with that index rallying close to 1.5%. The Nifty up by about 0.5%. Reliance Industries touching that 20 lakh crore rupee market cap, up by about 1%. The Nifty Bank added about 620 points, and the Nifty mid cap, well, closing about 150 points higher. That story also closing in the green today. Prashant is here now to wrap up the day's trading action for us. Prashant, moving back into the green today.
Well, after the absolute mayhem that we saw yesterday, today was a much more orderly kind of a day and more settled session. Of course, I mean, right out of the gates, it was a very vibrant market, stocks up and down, but nothing like what we saw yesterday when large broader markets sold off 4%, PSUs sold off sharply as well. So I'll start with the Nifty, which is up on your screen, a 100+ point gain there. Nifty Bank did even better with about 1.5% nearly coming through by close. Mid caps and small caps, anything between 0.25% to about 0.5% is what we had. The CPSE index, I mean the PSU space, which basically took the brunt of the beating yesterday, was up a little bit as well. So recovery is largely coming through. I'll get to stocks there in a bit. Now I'll start with Nifty and what did well. Coal India was the big gainer. 4% gain. Results came through, which was strong. UPL, the stock's not done well at all, has been a big underperformer. There was buying there. And financials, Axis Bank, you had ICICI Bank, SBI Life and HDFC Life for the other two sort of top Nifty gainers that we had. On the downside, there was Hindalco, which of course, some concerns around capital allocation there. Grasim was down sharply lower, and there was Ultratech, which was down as well. Now to the broader market where, I mean, by the way, the advance decline ratio was almost equal, 1:1, but the gainers first, IRFC, there was NHPC, RVNL, all PSUs by the way, and most of these were down between 15 and 20% yesterday. There was NLC India, Maharashtra Bank and Central Bank, which were also sharply higher. Oracle Financial Services outside of the PSU pack, Borosil Renewables and Reddington were some of the sharp movers. GMDC, Yatharth Hospitals, which is a fairly recent listing, Aptech, GVK, Taj GVK, which is, it moved up sharply, about 40-50 rupees in the last 1 hour of trade, ending about 15% higher. There was Jyoti CNC and Advanced Enzymes, which also was up about 7-8%. Pullbacks coming through. Actually, the only big volume-led loser in the PSU pack today was NBCC, which was down sharply. PTM by close was down 10%. It was a tentative start to begin with. KPIT Tech, there was Glaxo, Parag Milk, HEG, LG Equipment, Fintech, Flair Writing. There was NRB Bearing, to name a few more. It's been a trendless, a directionless kind of a market because there's been no day to follow up. So, last Friday on Thursday, or this Monday over Friday, or today over yesterday. One day up, but no follow through on the way up, and vice versa as well. And we still remain very range bound, at least at the index level, looking for direction. Back to you.
Prashant, many thanks for joining us. And as I mentioned, Reliance Industries has become the first Indian company to reach the milestone of 20 lakh crore rupees in market cap. The feat almost ties it at 43rd place with Netflix in the global market cap sweepstakes. The Reliance stock has gained about 14% in 2024. Sonal standing by with more. Sonal, what do brokerages make of the stock?
Well, yes, Reliance Industries has topped the milestone 20 lakh crore in terms of market capitalization. This is after a 14% move in this year so far, 27% in last 1 year and 139% in last 5 years. Most brokerages, they continue to be bullish on the stock, with 80% of them with a buy call, 14% with a hold call, and only 6% of them with a sell call. These are some of the targets in terms of stock prices by different brokerages. Well, most of them are above the 3,000 mark, barring Citi, which has a target price of 2,910, and highest by Centrum at 3,299 per share. Others are anywhere between 3,000 to 3,175 rupees a share. Now, after this move, it is 43rd largest company in the world in terms of market capitalization, which is the same as Netflix at $214 billion, but higher than PepsiCo and Novartis, to name a few, and slightly below Coca-Cola, L'Oreal, Accenture, to name a few. But what are the triggers for the stock going forward? Well, quite a lot. Bernstein says the spin-off of different businesses would be important. Additionally, telecom tariff hike, which is expected, update on new energy verticals, and higher free cash flow post the 5G build-out could be important. Morgan Stanley says the clarity on solar panel production, the unwinding of investment cycle of 2-3 times value creation, where every investment has added around $60 billion to the investment cycle and market cap, will be important to track. And Citi says surprise and size of telecom tariff will be key to watch, and the spin-off of the Jio and retail business is the most awaited event. Additionally, deleveraging will be important as well for the stock.
Sonal, many thanks for joining us. Now, commodity derivatives trading at MCX was delayed by 4 hours today due to a technical glitch. The exchange said that slow processing as well as generation of back-end files delayed the start of trade. Sudarshan is standing by now with more details. Sudarshan, a significant halt as far as trading hours were concerned for MCX. Take us to where things stand.
MCX was in focus today as company faced technical issue on its platform, and due to which trading began with a delay of 4 hours. The commodity exchange has failed to start trading at its regular time of 9 a.m. and failed to start even after postponing it twice. It was first postponed till 10 a.m. and later till 11 a.m. and finally the trading began at 1 p.m. Company in the disclosure to exchanges attributed the delay to slow processing and generation of back-end files. Here I would mention that average daily turnover at the MCX is around rupees 1.50 lakh crore. Remember, in October 2023, MCX had shifted to TCS technology platform from the platform of 63 moons. Talking about the stock move, MCX had fallen nearly 10% on Monday after Q3 results came below expectations, and in today's trading session, it has slipped another 2%.
Sudarshan, many thanks for joining us. Well, that's the latest as far as MCX were concerned. Now, shares of PTM hitting the lower circuit in trade again as uncertainty lingers ahead of the February 29 deadline. Now, Axis Bank CEO Amitabh Chaudhary says the lender is open to working with PTM if the RBI permits it to do so. Speaking to CNBC-TV18, Chaudhary said Axis Bank will do KYC individually if it does onboard PTM customers, while stressing once again that the bank will need the RBI's approval to do business with PTM. Chaudhary also said that credit growth cannot sustain if deposit accretion does not pick up, something that he has been worried about for the last few months. Take a look.
Let's say the merchants of Paytm were onboarded by us. We have to and we will insist on doing individual KYC. Now that cannot be done, for example, by February 28th. So it does need time. We need permission from RBI in terms of saying that yes, this is the roadmap you can take. We are okay with that roadmap. We are okay with the time you might need here. And we will be watching you very, very closely. But we do need RBI to bless it. RBI itself is hinting to the market and to the banks that they need to slow down a little bit. They are also, and that's why where the CD ratio comes in and some of the messaging from RBI. I do believe that at some stage the credit growth has to come off, or the interest rates have to increase much more than where they are today. If we were to assume deposit growth is going to remain constrained and competitive intensity on the credit growth is not going to reduce or not going to reduce enough, it does mean that the NIMs could continue to remain under pressure.
Well, that is Amitabh Chaudhary of Axis Bank. Macquarie Capital has downgraded the fintech, that is PTM, to underperform from a neutral call. The firm has also slashed its target price to 275 rupees a share from 650 rupees. It expects another 30% downside in the stock. Suresh Ganapathy of Macquarie says that PTM's business model was in question due to the uncertainty in its lending business, adding that banks were having a relook at their relationship with the company. Take a look.
Their ability to monetize the data comes into serious question, right? The feedback that we have got is that they are curtailing business. One lender, which is of course there in the public domain and which is there in the latest analyst conference calls, is also Aditya Birla Capital having cut down their exposure significantly to PTM. So my point here is that if at all the lenders decide to go back on cutting down their exposures to PTM, then clearly the business model is in question, because that's the biggest profitable business for them.
Well, that's Suresh Ganapathy of Macquarie on PTM. Prime Minister Modi has announced an investment of over 75,000 crore rupees for the government's revamped rooftop solar scheme. Government sources say that 75,000 crore rupees is the likely subsidy estimate for the next 3 to 5 years. Sapna standing by with the details. Sapna, this was an announcement made by the Finance Minister in the budget, but she had not allocated any capital towards this scheme. So take us through the contours.
Well, no, the budget does carry an outlay of 10 odd thousand crores. So, you know, when the government says investment, basically this is more of a capital subsidy, because it will also lead to some kind of asset creation. So, having said that, let's go through the numbers, very basic numbers. So, FY25 onwards, the government has opened the budget for the Prime Minister Surya Ghar program, 10,000 crores worth of subsidy, and this will be stepped up, or could be stepped up, to an outlay of 75 odd thousand crores, which the Prime Minister himself has indicated. So you start off first with 10,000 odd crores, simply because you know, this is a new scheme that is being unveiled. So what happens is that since the budget head is already there, you know, under the same budget head, the money has already been allocated. So there is no shortage of funds, or, you know, the scheme comes a non-starter because funds have yet to be allocated and, you know, various approvals have to be taken. So that part has been done. However, the government as of now is not very clear as to how much of time will be taken to install these 1 crore, you know, solar rooftops. So that's the reason why you are starting off with a 10,000 crore allocation out of the 75 odd thousand crores, and over the next 3 to 5 years, if required, the entire 65,000 crores will be allocated, depending on the pace of the installations and what the demand is like. I think that's where it rests. And the other point also is this, that as of now, technically a cabinet approval is still awaited. So probably when that happens, the existing solar grid scheme, which is already ongoing, because there's already a budget head, that's how they were able to allocate the money without the announcement of the new scheme and this 75 odd thousand crores, which PM himself has said today. So that scheme will get phased out and it will be replaced by the Prime Minister's Surya Ghar scheme.
All right, Sapna, many thanks for joining us. We will head into a short break, but up next, there is chaos at the Punjab-Haryana border after protesting farmers tried to reach the capital. Police fired tear gas shells using drones. More details when we return. The national story: chaos at the Punjab-Haryana Shambhu border as farmers began their Delhi Chalo march. There were attempts to topple barricades that have been set up amidst heavy security arrangements. Protesting farmers were met with rounds of tear gas fired by the Haryana police using drones. The queue of farmers at the Shambhu border currently extends up to 4 kilometers. As farmers begin their march, Delhi has become a fortress again, blocking all of its borders by erecting concrete slabs, barbed wires and barricades. Security measures have been amplified at Singhu, Ghazipur and Tikri borders. This protest comes after a second round of meetings between farmer unions and Union Ministers Piyush Goyal and Arjun Munda, where no consensus could be arrived at. Farmers are demanding a law that guarantees minimum support price for their crops, ensuring market stability, among others. Farmers are also demanding compensation for those killed in the Lakhimpur Kheri violence and a withdrawal of cases against those involved in farmer movements, among others. Abhimanyu Sharma joins us now from the Singhu border with the latest. Abhimanyu.
Well, as of now, there are no farmers which have reached the Singhu border, which connects Delhi to Haryana. But we can see the Delhi-Haryana border, which has been fortified completely. It has been converted into a fortress. We can see barricades, boulders, which have been erected. Also, not just Delhi police, but also there are personnel from the Rapid Action Force, which have been deployed at the site. The connecting roads, the flyover, have been blocked for vehicles, and only pedestrians are being allowed. And also there is constraint as far as movement is concerned. This is the other side where we can see barbed wires have also been installed, and cranes are being used to erect more boulders and constrict the path for some vehicles, some emergency vehicles which may be allowed, but otherwise most of the vehicular movement remains stopped. And there is a high vigil which is being ensured by the Delhi police on this side and also by Haryana police on the other side, where similar actions and measures are being taken as far as erection of boulders and barricades is concerned. Vehicular movement continues to be restricted to a large extent, and the state police in both the areas continues to restrict movement as well as erect boulders. They are keeping a vigil to ensure that there is no disruption of law and order, and there is no movement of farmers from Haryana into Delhi.
All right, Abhimanyu, many thanks for joining us. Abhimanyu Sharma there, reporting from the Singhu border. With that, it is time for us to wrap up this edition of Business 360. Do stay tuned. The news will continue here on CNBC-TV18. We're back in a moment with more.